guys, this is James with Mountain Lake Terrace High School, showing you guys all the parts to the sanders and how to safely use them. We have Mr. Smelser on the camera. Let's get started. So for this test, you guys are going to be tested on the anatomy of 3 different sanding tools. The disc sander, the belt sander, the disc sander, and we'll run over and take a look at the spindle sander later. So the parts to the belt sander. First thing we have is the belt guard. This is the area around the belt that keeps you from accessing it in spots that's dangerous. We have the abrasive belt itself, which you might call sandpaper, but this is an abrasive belt. We have the belt tension handle. This pulls tension on the belt so that it stays put. We have the tracking handles. You saw in an earlier video that when I turn these, it adjusts where the belt sits on these drums. You don't ever have to mess with these 2 things. If something's wrong, ask your instructor. We will help adjust it. The platen is this big piece of polished metal behind the sander, and what this does is pushes the sandpaper against your part as you push your part against the abrasive belt or sandpaper. And then finally, we have the on and off switch. This is the best tool in the shop for sanding straight, flat lines. So if I want to bring this shorter but keep it flat, turn the tool on, apply steady, even pressure, and you can see my result is a nice flat end result. For the disc sander, slow the machine down before I walk away. The disc sander is similar. Brian, let's take a look at this one over here. A little bit easier to get a picture of. We have a very similar set of parts. We have, of course, an on and off switch. The table on this one can tilt, so we have a tilting table. And the way you do that, anytime you see a curved piece of metal, that's what needs to be unlocked on the tool. And you would turn this.
There's one on each side.
Yep. And that will allow you to unlock it and move it. I want to keep it at 90 degrees for this cut. We had an abrasive belt. This one has an abrasive disc, and this can be removed and replaced. And we have, well, if they ask you about a base, the base, of course, is the bottom of it. I think we took that off the test. This tool has a little bit added risk. When you're cutting with this, or sanding, this side of the blade is spinning down and will hold the material in place. This side, the blade is spinning up, or the disc is sanding up. It's very hard to control. You always sand on this side. This tool will also sand flat. But you can also sand curves on it. If you notice, this is when this removes material, it leaves it black. This disc needs to be replaced. If you have this happening and it smells bad, talk to one of your instructors. We'll get this one replaced shortly.
Why would you use the outside versus the inside of the disc sander?
Let me show you on this one. This one's cutting a little better. The distance around a circle is called the circumference. The circumference here is smaller than the circumference here, but they're rotating at the same revolutions per minute. Which means that if you watch the sand by this finger and you watch the sand by this finger, it's moving much quicker on the outside than the inside. Which means it's going to remove material faster on the outside than the inside. So you'll have to trust that I'm going to use even sanding pressure on both of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. You notice I remove material faster on this side, slower on this side. So you have more control here, you can move more material here.
So if I have like a real precision sand job I want to do, probably want to use the inside of the disc.
Precision here, speed there. Well put. This sander will run for a long time. Once you turn it off, it's important to bring it to a stop with firm, steady pressure on a sanding block before you walk away from this. Last tool. So over here we have the spindle sander. What makes this tool unique is its ability to sand curved objects. Take a look at the parts. Now you got to be really careful up here because there's 3 test questions in this area. This is the hex nut. Inside of the hex nut is known as the spindle. Outside of the hex nut is known as the sanding sleeve. This is the disposable piece of material. It's the sandpaper. In this case, it's a sleeve. We have the tabletop. We have the throat plate. And the reason we have a throat plate, if you come down here, we have different size spindles we can put in place. So we have different size throat plates to accommodate those. So these are not disposable. They're to customize the machine to make it safer. And then finally we have, of course, an on and off switch. What's really... What's that?
And we can tilt.
Oh, this is a tilting table?
Yeah.
Excellent. Same method. We have a way to tilt it, and we have a gauge to tell us how far. Let's take a look at what this does when we cut with it. Nice quiet tool. We have a rotation, and then it exposes more sandpaper by going up and down instead of staying in one spot. And this is the only tool in the shop where you can sand an inside curve like that. This tool will pull your part. So it's important to control that movement. You should always push the material against the direction of its spinning. So it's spinning this way. It wants to send the material towards me. So I'm going to push the material against. And that gives you some control over how it works. If you want to use a different size spindle, talk to one of your instructors and we'll replace it for you. Alright, this was a long video. If you guys missed anything on how to safely use the tools or the parts, please rewatch the video to make sure you guys are ready for the test. Thank you.